Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to the Duron Coles Morning Show with your host himself, me, Duron Coles. Today is Thursday, March 11th, 2021, and this is episode 41, which is going to be a part 2 of episode 40. So, you don't really need to watch episode 40 to understand what's going on in 41, but it would really help you because I'm not going to go too deep into what I covered yesterday. I might talk about it a little bit, but I'm going to go to the next subject. So I won't even really waste any time. I'll just dive right in. So for those of you that didn't see it, like I said, a quick recap. Episode 40, I started off talking about how Jay-Z just sold Ace of Spades and sold Tidal, and Timbaland and Swizz Beatz, they just sold Versus to Triller. And I just wanted to know how the overwhelming question of the episode was how can we start to become the owners of our stuff, the complete owners, either 51% or 100, 51% or more, or I would like 100. I mean, no one really owns 100% of their company. That's unrealistic. So 51% or more would be better. So I found some examples. Like yesterday, we were looking up I was using Disney and the Walmart and Coca-Cola. Those companies have been founded for years. Like Disney founded and it's crazy that my memory works like this. I don't know why I remember it, but it was October 16th, 1923. And Coca-Cola was founded in 86, like I don't know if it was March or September. I don't remember, but it was like 86 or 1890 something. But it's been a long time. And then Walmart was like the 50s. So maybe Tidal or Versus wasn't going to be Disney or wasn't going to be Walmart. But at what point do we draw the line and say, all right, this is what I want to keep and build my wealth. So I also used an example of Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry owns all of Tyler Perry Studios, and if you don't already know, he's a billionaire now. If you go to Def Jam or Rock Nation or Rockefeller or anything that or if you go to Fenty or if you go to a lot of different companies, you'll see them and then their parent organization, and then that company will have a parent organization, and then that company will have a parent organization. Like another example that I used was Oprah Winfrey. Everyone looks at Oprah Winfrey like the top of the top of the top because she's probably one of the richest women. She's probably the richest black woman. She has a net worth of like $4+ billion. So I looked up, like, does she own the Oprah Winfrey Network? I also heard yesterday that Judge Judy, there's a business plan, and I mean, Oprah might have done this, but we'll talk about the network right after this. Judge Judy and shows like that, they will own their whole show, and then they'll license it out to people to show it on different platforms. So, for example, let's say you saw Judge Judy on Channel 13 and Channel 7 and Channel 3, something like that. She owns the show, and she's licensing it to those companies to watch it. They don't own her show. They just have a license to show it, and she owns it. That's a great business plan. I love that. And that someone was debating if Oprah did that or if Dr. Phil did that or anything like that. Now that I'm not too aware of. I would imagine that Oprah didn't do that because I only saw the Oprah Winfrey show on one network. So I would imagine she had to deal with them. But to where I was going with, we all look at Oprah as like the top, the pinnacle, the top, and she is. I'm not going to lie and say she is not, but I was like, I wonder if she owns the Oprah Winfrey Network. Did she use her money and just own it? But the Discovery Channel actually owns that network, and then someone owns the Discovery Channel, like their whole network. They own the History Channel and A&E and Discovery, and the Oprah Winfrey Network. So I don't know. I was just talking about like when does it stop? Like the best example that I can use, and I would like you to Google this because you could see how many times you have to click. Go to a show. Just go to a show. You could say It has to be on a Cartoon Network show. Go to a Cartoon Network show. I don't know. Use Teen Titans or whatever. Choose your favorite Cartoon Network show. Teen Titans is made by Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network is owned by Warner Brothers, and then Warner Brothers is owned by. I'll just do it again. I know that Warner Brothers is owned by. Which company is it? Why is my brain being fried right now? But I'll do it with you guys. For those of you that don't know, and this is your first show you're watching, I normally don't like to Google or be on the computer or look away from the camera, but during these specific types of episodes, if I need information that I want to be correct, I don't mind. So let's look up Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network. So if you go and you look up Cartoon Network, it says the Cartoon Network, their parent organization is the Turner Broadcasting System. So it's like, oh, okay. Then you have to click Turner Broadcasting System. Turner Broadcasting System, their parent organization is Warner Media. Turner Broadcasting System, they own CNN, they own TNT, they own Cartoon Network, they own Turner Sports, they own True TV, they own Cartoon Network Studios, they own Adult Swim, they own Bleacher Report. They own a lot of stuff. So if you click, oh, like who is Turner Broadcasting System owned by? They're owned by Warner Media. So Warner Media, their subsidiaries are Warner Brothers, HBO, Crunchyroll, TNT, the CW. Anything else that's really, really crazy on here? Nothing too crazy. A lot of like comics and things like that. A lot of like if you were ever watching a movie and one of those things pops up like Bad Robot, things like that. Not specifically Bad Robot, but they own a lot of those companies. That I watch a lot of movies, so I've seen some of these. Like this says Flagship Entertainment. I've seen this pop up before. So we went from Cartoon Network to Turner Broadcasting Systems to Warner Media. Warner Media, their parent company is AT&T, and that's where it stopped. Excuse me, that's where it stops. So AT&T, not only do they own AT&T, DirecTV, and they own everything underneath that. So where you might be, like you might feel like the man if they make you the boss. Like I'm the boss of Cartoon Network. You got a boss on top of a boss on top of a boss on top of a boss. It never stops. So that brought me to the conversation that we're having now. When is it that we become our own bosses? Oprah, like, yeah, Oprah has the Oprah Winfrey Network, but if Discovery doesn't like something she puts on there, they'll tell her to take it off. Like, this whole thing's happening with Meghan Markle, which I want to make an episode about, but I haven't watched it yet, so that'll probably come next week. I'll probably watch it this weekend, and that'll come next week. But if they got a lot of backlash from that, and their stock price was going down because of it, they'd cut it. And even if Oprah said, no, don't do that, sorry, you put it on our network. Yeah, this is the Oprah Winfrey Network, but we own that. So it's kind of like I was also giving examples yesterday about Rihanna and Fenty and Michael Jordan with Jordan or LeBron James with his like LeBron line. They can't take that with them. And to me, that sucks. They could take their name, which is probably just they could probably create something the same, which that we'll get into that conversation later. But if Rihanna wanted to take she has like the #1 lingerie line right now. That's owned by Louis Vuitton. The Louis Vuitton Hennessy company owns that. And I meant to read this off yesterday, and maybe I could do it later. Actually, I will do that later. Louis Vuitton owns a lot of stuff that everyone thinks like, oh, I'm wearing the best or whatever. Louis Vuitton most likely owns it. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. She can't take that with her. Michael Jordan. The Jordan shoes are probably like the staple of the black community. Like everyone knows about Jordan shoes. If he right now wanted to take Jordans and go do something with it, Nike owns the Jumpman logo. They own all the Jordan 1s, the Jordan 12s, the breads and the flu games and all those. Nike owns those. And I think he's in a lifetime deal with them anyway. But if he wanted to go say, I'm going to go create my own thing, they own it. it's theirs. Same thing with the LeBron. If LeBron, which LeBron and Jordan and Rihanna, they have their own name, so they could easily go do it themselves if they really wanted to. But if LeBron said, "I'm done. I'm going to go take my line to somewhere else. I'm not even going to go to Adidas or Puma or anywhere. I'm going to start my own thing. I'm going to start a manufacturing company. I'm going to do all these things." You can't take it. They're like, you can go, but you got to go create your own thing. Can't take our stuff. So I gave all those examples and I gave all that background from yesterday's episode just to say, where does it start / where does it stop? And now what I want to talk about today is it too late? I started to dive into that yesterday, but I didn't get the chance, which is hence the part 2. Is it too late for people to become the top of the top? And the way I'll transition everything is I'll just talk about that now, and then we can talk about the rest later. I actually don't think it's too late, but I think it's just going to be rare. So ultimately, it basically is too late unless you have, in my opinion, a company that's going to revolutionize the world. The last company that we really, really, really saw become the top is the last two, in my opinion, are last 3: Tesla, Netflix, and Facebook. Tesla is literally changing the world as we know it, with the way that their mission statement is to get to what is the name? I am not on one today. Their mission statement is basically to accelerate the world towards a more reusable economy and things like that. I used to know it. I don't know why I don't know it. It's accelerate something. Tesla mission statement. Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. That's what it is. So their mission statement is exactly what they're doing. The way that they came and hit the market with their electric cars is changing the way that Ford and Porsche and everyone is releasing vehicles. And they're like, dag, I guess we actually have to compete and make good and really good electric vehicles. Excuse me. For those of you that don't know, Tesla, they're and I don't normally drink coffee. Sorry for the burps. I normally don't drink coffee. I'm drinking some coffee today because I'm tired. But I think it's made my brain scramble too, because it's making me think so much faster, and it's making me doubt the things I'm saying. But anyway, for those of you that don't know, Tesla, they started in 2003. That's when they were founded, but they didn't even release their first car until 2008. So when I talk about Tesla, to me, Tesla didn't even really start until 2008, because, and it's sad that they won't be talked about. I don't even know their names, but Tesla was started by 2 other people, and then Elon Musk was brought in as the CEO in 07. Maybe it was 06. I think it was 07. And then they left. He became the head, and he ran and everything, and the rest is history. So I really think Tesla started in 07, 08. Well, you can use 03 if you want to, because that's still, as far as companies, that's still really recent. So for those of you that don't know, Tesla has the high, it's the highest valued car company out there right now. Higher than Ford, which started in obviously the 1900s. Ford must have started in 1903 or something. When was Ford founded? Oh wow, that was nice. It's actually 1903. It's June 16th, 1903. Give me credit for that. So Ford was founded June 16th, 1903. Chevrolet was founded November 3rd, 1911. There's another one. Where's that one? Dodge was founded in 1900. Hyundai was founded in 1967. You get where I'm going. All these companies that they're beating, they've been in the industry for hundreds of years. In this case of Hyundai, it was 54 years. But Ford has been a company for 108 years. So in let's just say 2003, in 17/18 years, because it's 2021 now, Tesla has past a company that has been alive for 108 years. That doesn't happen. That's very rare. But why they're able to do that is because they're literally changing the world as we know it. So Tesla's one. Facebook has quite literally changed the world as we know it. You can argue that it was MySpace then transitioned to Facebook, but Facebook is the one that did it. Everyone knows that Facebook is the reason that we have Instagram now, and we have Twitter, and we have Snapchat, and we have TikTok. Facebook started all of that. This social media that I post these videos to, Facebook started that. It's a reason why Facebook has more people on it than Facebook has the biggest population in the world, higher than China, higher than India. There's 2 billion users on Facebook. That is higher than anywhere else in the world. So Facebook started in, let's call it 06, probably. So Facebook started in 06, and now they're the parent company. Facebook owns everything. There's no one that owns anything over Facebook, but everyone knows that Facebook is one of the richest companies in the world. Well, they're able to do that because they literally changed the world. And then lastly, it was Netflix. Netflix is literally ending the cable, and I've said literally too many times, but they are actually ending the way that cable is used and the way that we watch media. It's unfortunate, but they're ending movies too. Not only has Netflix said, like, they've been getting people to cut their cable wires, and they're like, we don't need Comcast, we don't need Verizon. People are now, because of the pandemic, saying, and I can feel the coffee hitting me, I'm sorry. People are also saying now, because of the pandemic, we don't even have to go to the movie theaters. We don't even have to go because we can watch Netflix. And because Netflix started, Hulu started. Because Hulu started, Peacock started. Because Peacock started, Paramount Plus started. And it just goes on and on and on and on. It goes, as Erykah Badu said, on and on and on and on. So, I really think that it is too late, in my opinion, to become the top or the parent company unless you're changing the world as we know it. That's just my opinion. What I wanted to talk about, which will make us dive into Louis Vuitton, I'll start at Louis Vuitton because they're not even one of the companies I'm talking about. They own some stuff, but they're not one of the companies I'm talking about. So let's just look at Louis Vuitton. So before I even do that, I'm going too fast in my head. Excuse me. I want to talk about the companies that own everything and who are their subsidiaries. So just for like a sneak peek, for example, because since everyone should already know this, if you want to look at Disney, the way I always could say it is look at media as channels. Who owns the most channels? And you might have 100 or 200 channels on your TV, but what I'm about to show you is all those channels are probably owned by 4, 5, or 6 companies. And it seems like, oh yeah, like I get all these different channels. They're probably owned by Disney, Viacom, or NBC Universal. Maybe a couple others. Maybe. So that's what we're about to go into. So let's just start with Louis Vuitton. A lot of people don't know the companies that Louis Vuitton owns. So, Louis Vuitton owns Louis Vuitton. They partner with Hennessy, so they own Hennessy. Jay-Z just sold Ace of Spades to Hennessy, so now Louis Vuitton owns the Ace of Spades. Louis Vuitton owns Sephora. For all my women out there, they love their makeup. They own Sephora. They own Christian Dior. They own Tiffany & Company. They own Fendi and Fenty. But everyone's like, yeah, I got that Fendi belt. Louis Vuitton owns that. They own Moet. They own Givenchy. Everyone's like, hey, I got Givenchy on. Louis Vuitton owns that. They own, where else? That's Fenty. They own, I have seen this in the mall. I've never been there. They own Zenith. I've never been there before. They own Marc Jacobs. They own DKNY. They own, and I thought there was another one that they owned that was bigger, but regardless, I think it goes over a lot of people's heads that like, oh wait, they own all that. You might think like, oh, I'm going to, and they also own Celine. Like I don't know if that's like a Celine Dion one or what, but I don't know what that is. I've never. It's a French thing. I've never heard of that. Sorry for the. I'm not a fashion like person, but to read it once again, they own Louis Vuitton, Sephora, Dior, Tiffany and Co, Fendi, Hennessy, Moet, Celine, Givenchy, Bulgari, and I've seen this before, but I don't know what it is. Tag Heuer. I've seen that before. Um, they own Marc Jacob. They own Fenty as well as Fendi. They own Fenty Beauty. Anything that Rihanna comes out with, they own it. They own Marc Jacobs, DKNY, and Chateau de Jacquem. I think that's like a wine something. So Louis Vuitton. I mean, they're. Oh, wait, we might have something. Oh wait, no, we don't. I'm sorry. It said that because it said parent organization of Louis Vuitton was. Oh, I was on Dior. That's my fault. I was on Dior. I thought I was on Louis Vuitton. It said parent company was Dior. I was like, what? But Dior still owns some of Dior, but they own 41%. Louis Vuitton owns the rest. So yeah, that's just one company, and that's high fashion. People that wear high fashion, one company owns most of it. I know there's another company that does that too, which I didn't even plan on talking about, but we should. I just don't remember who it was. I think it's what's his name? Michael Kors. Michael Kors owns a lot of stuff that people wear. Michael Kors subsidiaries. They don't know it. And people like trash Michael Kors, and they have no idea that they own all this stuff. So Michael Kors owns Jimmy Choo. Michael Kors owns Versace. Michael Kors owns. Let's see if there's more. I thought there was more. I think isn't Rolex owned by someone too? I thought I saw somewhere where it said. Let me see. Rolex parent company. Hans Winsdorf. Foundation Hans Winsdorf. Well, I was wrong about that. I swore I saw somewhere that they had something to do with Rolex. But regardless, they you see a lot of companies that we look at as different are just owned by the same person. So someone might have on Jimmy Choo shoes or whatever, and a Versace shirt, and a Michael Kors this, and they all think like, hey, I got on 3 different designers, but you really got on the same thing, my guy. Sorry. For those of you that like Tory Burch, from what I can see, that they don't have a parent company or a Goyard. But let's get to the big companies. That's just high fashion. I wanted to go into that a little bit, but let's go into the big companies that control not only. There's some that control the media, and then there's some that control all your food. We walk into ShopRite, or we walk into. I don't want to use Walmart because they're Walmart, but we walk into a grocery store. Excuse me. Once again, we walk into a grocery store and we see Tyson and all these different companies, and we're like, oh, we have the freedom of choice. But once again, they're owned by all the same people too. So, I had all this up yesterday. I wonder if all my tabs are still there. If they're not, I can Google it again. Yeah, I don't see it. So, media companies that own everything. These 6 corporations control 90% of the media outlets in America. The illusion of choice and objectivity. So, they're going to talk about. This one must be. Is this one old? No, it says September 18th, 2020. But I don't like how they separate Viacom and CBS. They're each other. But it says if you want to talk about like Comcast is NBC Universal. Like Comcast owns NBC Universal, so any Universal movie that you see, like Harry Potter, I think The Office is on NBC. They Shrek is DreamWorks. NBC owns DreamWorks or Comcast. Comcast owns all of them, but what I'm going to probably say is NBC Universal, but just know that Comcast owns all of them. So they own BuzzFeed, they own E News, they own DreamWorks, they own USA, they own Telemundo, they own and it said this is a little old. It says Hulu with an asterisk, but Disney bought that out already. And then it says AT&T, which we went over earlier. AT&T owns HBO, they own Warner Brothers, they own DC Comics, they own Bleacher Report, Cinemax, TNT, Cartoon Network, CNN, the CW. For all of you that like that Flash show, what else is on the CW? The All American is on the CW. AT&T owns all that, which makes sense now. I didn't even put two and two together. I used to always ask, how come all of DC's shows go into the CW? The Arrow, the Flash, Superman, like all these DC shows go onto the CW. Like, what is that? They own it. Duh. I didn't even put two and two together. I don't know why they put Verizon on here. Verizon doesn't own nothing. I mean, Verizon owns Yahoo and AOL and the Huffington Post, but they don't own like what I'm talking about. When I talk about it, I talk about channels. So imagine if you had like a basic channel package. Basic channel package. If you were like, oh, I get 3, 5, 6, and 10. Normally those are new. Where I'm from, New Jersey, those are normally news channels. Channel 3 is CBS News. Channel 5 is Fox News. Channel 6 is ABC News. Channel 10 is NBC News. So CBS is owned by Viacom. Viacom owns MTV, Nickelodeon, BET, and Paramount, which is where Paramount Plus is coming from. So that is a larger company. And then if you think about Channel 5, ooh, Fox. Fox is now a weird one. Fox was one of the biggest media companies in the world until Disney bought them for $75 billion. So, but there was a catch there. Which I think I talked about this a couple episodes ago. The FCC said that, yeah, Disney, like you can do that, but you're not allowed to own 2 news stations. That's too much. Like you can't own 2 news stations on 2 different channels. Like we need different opinions and whatever. So they said you can buy them, but you can't buy the news or the sports. So they were going to buy them for more money, like I think like $100 billion. But they said no, you can't do the news or the sports. So you got to take that out the deal, and you can buy all their movies, you can buy all their TV shows and all their content, everything, and the deal, you're good to go. So Channel 5 is still owned by Fox News, but Fox itself is owned by Disney. The way that they do it is, I believe Disney owns 21st Century Fox, and their news Fox stuff is like 20th Century Fox, I think is the way they did it. But think about all the shows that were on Fox. People seem to forget that there was on Fox there was The Simpsons. Disney owns that now. There was Family Guy. Disney owns that now. The Cleveland Show, Disney owns that now. Like anything that was Seth MacFarlane, Disney owns that now. And if you want to look it up now, because I like stats like that. The top 10 highest grossing movies of all time, I think Disney owns 7 of them now, because after they bought Avatar, so they own Avatar now. All the Marvel movies. They had some of the Fast and Furious movies. I believe they own them now from Fox. I might be misspeaking, but I don't want to focus on that, so I'm not going to look that up. But Disney owns, and this isn't even showing all of them. I'm going to go look it up so that people can actually understand how much Disney owns. But it says ABC, ESPN, Pixar, and Marvel Studios. No, 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 no. Disney owns way more than that. Which actually, so then I'll go to a different one because these ones, that means these ones aren't showing enough. Disney subsidiaries. Disney owns Disney Plus, as we all know, because it's Disney. They own Hulu. I've told the story about that. Long story short, Disney used to own 30% of Hulu, and then when they bought Fox, they got another 10 to make it 40. Then they bought out the Hulu people to get 90, and then NBC said, well, if you're going to own the 90, you might as well own the whole thing, and they sold their 10% to Disney. So now Disney owns 100% of Hulu. So they own Disney Plus, they own Hulu, they own Pixar, they own Marvel Entertainment, which is not just Marvel films. They own like the comics. They own all of that. They own 20th Century Studios, so maybe I said it backwards. Maybe they bought 20th Century Fox and they got to keep 21st Century, something like that. So they own 20th Century Studios. They own American Broadcasting Company, which is ABC. They own Lucasfilms, which is the Star Wars series, for all of you that, I think everyone knew that by now though. So they own Star Wars. They own Blue Sky Studios, which is, I believe, a huge thing in like London Kingdom. They own. It's not even showing everything. Is it over here? So they own ESPN. They own A&E. It's really not showing everything. So I was going to read it, but I know it off the top of my head because I've done this so many times. They own Lifetime. They own not National Geographic. What's that thing called? The Nature. Not Nature Channel. I think it is called Nature. Are they called Nature? Not the History Channel. But they own, so A&E Networks. They own, the History Channel. They own Lifetime. And there was the other one. If I go on Disney Plus. Sorry that I'm Googling so much, guys. But I want you guys to know. Now, it is National Geographic. So Disney owns National Geographic as well. And Lifetime. So for all of you women out there, once again, that love, because I know from my mom, love watching Lifetime, Disney owns that as well. Excuse me. And that we're only talking about one company. So I just went over. Think about your favorite things out there. If you like comedic stuff, like, oh, I like Family Guy, Disney owns that. If you're like, no, I like watching Lifetime, things like that, Disney owns that. No, I'm a history guy, I like the History Channel, Disney owns that. They own it with someone else, but they do own it. If you're like, oh no, I'm more so of a national, I like nature stuff, Disney owns that too. Doesn't matter where you're looking, they own that. So that's just them. And then if you go to someone like Viacom, I don't know how they pronounce that, but I'm just going to call it Viacom. So Viacom, they own a lot of stuff that people like too. You like the Chappelle Show, the original Chappelle Show, Comedy Central? They own Comedy Central. They own BET. They own MTV. They own Epix. They own Nickelodeon. They own Paramount Pictures. So if you're a big Shrek guy, or let me see I don't even know what Paramount makes. So Paramount made Coming to America too. They made Transformers. They made it says I'm going to go to their films. They made the Titanic. They made Mission Impossible. They made The Wolf of Wall Street. They made Interstellar. They made, what's some other really good movie? That Star Trek, Terminator. Paramount owns a lot of good stuff. So if you're like, oh, I love the Terminator from back then, they own that. I love Transformers, they own that. You like scary movies? Oh, you saw A Quiet Place? Paramount made that. They own that. Interstellar, you like space travel? They made the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Wolf of Wall Street. You like BET, you like Comedy Central, and I think South Park is on Comedy Central, which means they most likely own that too. You like MTV videos, they own that. They own VH1. So it's, and once again, this is just one company. And we already went over, I'm not going to do AT&T again, / Warner Brothers. They own DC Comics, Superman, and Green Lantern, and they own Cartoon Network. They own, which also makes sense now why they were able to make Teen Titans and put that on the show. All this stuff is starting to make sense to me. It never made sense how Teen Titans was on Cartoon Network, but they own Cartoon Network. It just goes on and on and on. And then the last one is NBC Universal. So NBC Universal, they own Peacock, like I told you about. They own CNBC. They own MSNBC. They own USA. They own the like E! News. They own the Weather Channel. They own DreamWorks. They own Fandango. They own Illumination, which is the company that makes the yellow people that can't talk. With Grooge or whatever his name is. I don't know what they're called. If I click Illumination, I know they'll come right up. Minions. They make Despicable Me and the Minions. So they own Illumination, which makes that. Illumination also made the Lorax. It made the Grinch. It made Sing. So they own. There's a. I don't want to say this and scare people, but they own. It's a video like streaming platform called Vudu. They don't own Vudu, the spooky Vudu. They own the Vudu. They own the golf channel. They own a lot. You guys get where I'm going with that. So I just named only 3 companies that own most of what everybody loves. So if you're like, oh, I like Looney Tunes and all that, that's Warner Brothers. They own that. You grew up on Transformers, Paramount owns that. You grew up on Star Trek, Paramount owns that. You grew up on Star Wars, Disney owns that. You grew up on Indiana Jones, Disney owns that. You grew up on, right now you're an adult, you're like, I like to come home, watch Lifetime, and just relax when I get home from work. Disney owns that. You're flipping through channels, you go to E! News. I don't even remember which one owns E! News. I think that's NBC Universal. I don't know. That might be Viacom. I don't know which one is which anymore. They all own it. And I only focused on media. I don't even have much time left, and I only focused on media. The food is even worse. I don't know if I'm the only one that's had to do this because of my business classes or whatever, but if I go to Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola owns so much that we just don't know. Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Let's see. Let's go to Coke. So Coca-Cola owns themselves, obviously. Coca-Cola owns Minute Maid, so you guys like that lemonade. They own that. They own Simply Orange, that orange juice that I've seen in everybody's house. If you got that, they own Barks. So Barks is that root beer. I only know that because I used to be a root beer fiend. So if you've seen it, it's like a gray black. If you've seen it, you would know what I'm talking about. They own Honest Tea. They and this is just drinks. They're not even talking about food. Coca-Cola owns food too. They own Fuse, so like Fuse iced tea. They own, they're not even talking about just everything. Let me see if it'll come up. This is a better one. There's a picture here to show who owns what. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. So it's a lot to even read, but this is just cereals. Kellogg's basically owns every cereal. General Mills. So the PepsiCo owns, Pepsi owns Lay's, which owns Fritos, which owns Tostitos, and Cheetos, and Sun Chips. Pepsi also owns Tropicana, Gatorade, Pepsi, 7-Up, Sierra Mist. They own Quaker Oats. They own those Chewy bars. Some of it is blurry. I can't tell what some of these logos are. They own Mug, like the root beer Mug. They own Brisk. They own Ocean Spray. It's a lot. And then if you go to Coca-Cola, at the bottom, I just read a lot what Coca-Cola owns. But Coca-Cola owns Poland Spring. They own Dasani. They own Nestea. They own Powerade. They own Minute Maid. There's a lot. There's some of this is blurry and I can't see. Is there a different picture for this? I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read the brand just off of like knowledge, but I really can't. Unilever, another company. Ooh, I can't. I know that Unilever owns a lot, but I can't tell what brands these are. Yeah, let me see if I can find a different picture. Is this a better one? Kinda. No, it's not. But you guys get where I'm going with this. So, because I don't have much time left, I want to wrap it up to the final question that started all of this yesterday. How do we become them? Do we become Nestle, Procter & Gamble, Kraft, Coca-Cola, Unilever, Johnson & Johnson, Disney, NBC, Viacom? I don't know how we become them. I'm known as, like, when I do these, I come up with a solution or an answer. I really don't know. And this is why I don't know. How can the richest man in the world, the richest black man in the world, I believe has $14 billion. The richest man in the world has $200 billion. He himself is worth more than some of the companies I named. So, if these companies, for example, Disney just wrote a $75 billion check to buy Fox. If someone wanted to buy Amazon, Jeff Bezos doesn't need the money. Like, if he really just loves Amazon, he's like, I'm not selling it. One, it wouldn't make sense to sell it because it's the richest company in the world. That's first and foremost. But let's just say it was the 6th or the 7th or whatever. He doesn't need the money. He has seen that much money. They are able to offer us more money than we've ever seen in our lives. For example, Tyler Perry Studios. Tyler Perry owns 100% of Tyler Perry Studios. But what if tomorrow Disney said, or I wouldn't use Disney because that's not really their thing. Let's say Viacom, because Viacom owns BET and MTV and all that. So Viacom was like, they crunched the numbers. It's worth $1 billion right now, and it was founded in 2006. Now it's only been 15 years, and they're like, all right. So in 15 years, he was able to get $1 billion. He's already laid the groundwork. Maybe over the next 15 years, we can make 10 off that. So they say we can make 10 off that. We're going to offer him today $5 billion to buy it. It took him 15 years to get $1 billion. In a second, he can get 5. Now he'll have 6, or I guess that's how that works. Yeah, he has $1 billion. 5 plus 1 is 6. So we'll buy it off you for 5. So maybe I'm doing my math wrong. I'm thinking too hard about it. It doesn't matter. He'll either have $5 or $6 billion. It doesn't really matter. It's a lot of money. It's more money than he has ever seen. So if Tyler Perry goes, dang, 5, like I can literally go 5x of the current money I have, and it's taken me 15 years to get $1 billion. I can take this money and maybe I can go build something else. So maybe I should take the 5. I wouldn't be mad at him if he did that. But my question is, when do we sit at the top? Walmart probably got offered to be bought. Disney probably got offered to be bought. I know, like I was telling you yesterday in the episode, Tesla was begging Apple to buy them, but it didn't go through, and that was probably the best thing that happened for them because, excuse me, there's something like in my chest. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to them because Tesla is like top 20 now, like top 20 highest valued companies, they just lost a lot of money yesterday, 2 days ago. But it's volatile for them. Everyone knows that. They'll probably go back up again. But now they're at the top is what I'm getting at. So over the next couple of years, when they start buying companies and buying companies, which they already have, but I mean big companies, like they're buying startups right now to help with their artificial intelligence or to help with their self-driving technology. But when they start like when Tesla's able to buy their version of Fox, like how Disney wrote a $75 billion check without blinking, when Tesla is able to do that, they'll look back and probably be like, I'm glad we didn't sell. We made it. And like I said, it's not fair to compare them with Tyler Perry Studios because Tesla's able to scale the way they are because they're literally changing the way the world works. And for you to have that type of impact, you're going to blow up like that and be able to stay at the top. So I truly do think it's too late unless we can come up with something crazy. Like we need a black man that comes up with the new AR, VR, glasses, contacts, something. And he doesn't sell because it could change the shape of reality. The way that we work. It doesn't have to be a he. I'm sorry. It could be it could be a woman. It could be anyone. So they don't sell because they know that they can make more money later. I don't know. I really don't blame someone like Tyler Perry or Jay-Z or Timbaland for saying, you know what, Versus isn't going to change the world. If Triller's going to offer me, I don't know how much they got offered, $100 million. That could be exaggeration. I don't know. If Versus had 2 million people watching, if the names were good enough, no shade to I think Snoop Dogg and DMX had like 500,000 or whatever, but the Brandy and the Eve, not Eve, I always keep calling her that, my girlfriend last, Monica, the Brandy and Monica one, they got 2 million people to watch. The Gucci and Jeezy one, they got 2 million people to watch. That's a lot of concurrent viewers at one time on an app. It's not like this. For example, the Super Bowl gets 100 million people to watch at one time. How many people watch the Super Bowl? Oh wait, I gassed. Did I gas that much? There's no. Wait. I have to be wrong. Wait. Something's not right. Because I know it's not this low. Oh. Well, I knew. So, let me explain to you guys what just happened. When I type it in, it says, oh, they said streaming. Okay. Oh my God. When I typed it in, the initial answer that came up, I said, how many people watch the Super Bowl? It says 5.7 million viewers. I was like, 5.7 million? Like that doesn't make any sense. That's lower than any number I've ever heard. But I clicked the article, and it says Sunday Super Bowl was watched by 91.6 million people on CBS. So that makes more sense. But people that streamed the game, there was 5.7 million people that streamed the game online. So obviously, if 5.7 million people streamed the Super Bowl online and 2 million people are willing to stream on a random Tuesday night, Monica versus Brandy, you got something really good going. So I don't know how much money they were offered, but I can understand. With an M, millions of dollars. I can understand. Like, I'll use me for example, and I'm not getting big-headed, I'm just using me. If someone said, like, you know what, your show blew up and you're doing really well, we don't want you to go on YouTube anymore, we want you to go to Spotify, Apple Music, we want you to go to XYZ, it doesn't matter, we'll give you $6 million. I'm selling. I've never seen $100,000. $6 million, I'm selling. Take it. What do you guys need me to do? You know what I mean? Like, to instantly become a millionaire is mind blowing. So I can understand why people sign deals. I can understand why people. I understand. I would do like a 3 year or whatever deal, 4 year, 5 year. And for what I'm doing doesn't change the world. They don't own my product. They don't own me. I just have to take what I'm doing and go to a different network. You know what I mean? If I did a 3 year, 4 year, 5 year deal or something like that, and I made millions of dollars off it, and I had to do what I'm doing now. I'm just talking. I mean, for me that only makes sense. Now it's different when it comes to like Tyler Perry's thing. Tyler Perry makes a movie, and there's a lot of money to be handed around, and things that come later. So, for example, when we see when we see BET or FX or whomever play a Tyler Perry movie on TV, who does that money go to? Now, if Viacom, for example, owned Tyler Perry Studios, he might not get any of that money when it gets played on TV. But he owns all of it, so they have to make a deal with him and license it and say, we want to play this on TV to get more viewers so that we can get people to watch more ads, which means the advertisement companies will pay us more money. So it all paid for itself. If they already owned it, he doesn't really get that money. Now, for me, I'm not doing anything that right now anyway that would need that type of like, for lack of a better term, because I can't think of one, that type of pass down, that type of, oh, we're going to replay it on the radio, replay it on this, you don't get the money or whatever. Plus, I'm not established. So for me to make $6 million, there's a big difference between Jay-Z already having 800 million or something, and then him selling Tidal to get another 200. That's a lot of money. But if you could have built it to something else, is it worth it? Because you don't need the money. Like I said about Jeff Bezos doesn't need any more money. Anything over a couple $100 million, you don't need any more money. But you got to kind of finesse so that you can get what you want. Like Jay-Z doesn't need any more money. Well, that's it. I guess I'll open the floor for any questions. I really talked over today, and I'll see if there's any questions, and if not, we'll go and attack this Thursday. Can't believe it's almost Friday already, and let's do it. Oh, I'm tired, guys. All right, if there's no more questions, or if there's no questions, excuse me, we will go attack this Thursday. And I'm out of here. I'll see you guys here tomorrow, 7:30 to 8:30. This was one of the better topics I think I did over the last 2 days, because I don't think a lot of people know this. I do. I mean, I just like weird stuff like this, to know who really is pulling what strings. So I'll see you guys here tomorrow at 7:30. Peace.